How's it, everyone? Hope you're having an amazing day. Welcome to How's It Cousins, the podcast where we take a look at the unique people of the world and the interesting things they do. We talk about them, we relate to them. Hopefully we help you, the audience, relate to these people as well. This week, we are gearing up for May the 4th. And if you don't know what that is, Google it because it's going to get deep here. And rather than focusing on one of the more, we'll say, prolific Star Wars characters, I want to highlight this week someone who contributed a lot to the more recent Star Wars stories, the writer behind Rogue One, a Star Wars story, Gary Whitta.
How's it, Chris? Are you talking about Gary Whitta? Yo, I'm down to talk about Gary Whitta. Let's do this.
Aloha, Alvin. Thanks for jumping into the May the 4th podcast show.
Yeah, man, I'm always down to talk to you. It's always fun. Let's do it.
Before we jump into it, I want to remind everyone that we are broadcasting live on twitch.tv/HowsItNetwork. If you want to check us out there, feel free to join us in the chat, interact with us, have fun with us as we dive into these stories. If you want to see more, check us out on social media at How's It Network, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We'll always tell you when we're going live. If you want more of these episodes, we are on all the popular podcast services, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, anywhere you want to find us, you can find us there. Alvin, anything you want to plug before we get started?
Yes, my name is Aloha Alvin, and you can find more of me at alohaalvin.com.
So, given the date that this episode will air, spoilers, we always record a little early.
Yep.
Let's jump right into Rogue One. Have you seen Rogue One, Alvin?
Yes, Rogue One. I enjoyed it. Good stuff.
So, Gary Whitta, he is originally from the UK, and he is a co-author of the Rogue One screenplay. I find it very interesting that Rogue One decided to do the prequel in a different way, right? Star Wars started at episode 4 and then went through 5 and 6, then prequeled its way to 1, 2, 3, and then we went all the way to episode 7 before jumping back to, we'll say this is 3.5 or 3.8, I guess, if you follow Kingdom Hearts lore, it's about there. And it tells a story of a scene that we sort of understood happened but never got to see, with a cast of characters that are super different than anything we've seen before in Star Wars.
I need to embarrass myself a little bit because I feel like anyone listening to this deserves to know the truth. Okay, so I have seen episode 4. I've seen 1, 2, 3. And I guess I've seen 7, 8. I don't know the numbers already. But I have not seen the original trilogy. A lot of my knowledge has Jar Jar Binks in it, not gonna lie. A lot of it. And Rey, I think her name is Rey, and Traitor, whatever that Finn. So like that's more of where I'm coming from. I definitely know like nothing compared to the average Star Wars fan. I casually watch. I'm one of those guys.
So thanks for pointing that out, because if you haven't listened to our other episodes, I've shamed Alvin enough times on the internet for not seeing quite possibly the greatest Star Wars episode in episode 5. But since all of these shows should stand alone, thank you very much. However, at least this time, Rogue One occurs between episode 3 and episode 4.
Oh,
and
okay.
That means that at least you have the context to understand what's going on for this movie and this show. Not seeing 5 and 6, well, I mean, it would help you, but, you know, for what we're going over today, I think you're good.
On that note, and this is from the writer point of view, I believe they threw this line down in 4, possibly 1, 2, and 3, but I think it happens in 4, where essentially the Rogue One, the entire movie, the line is thrown down, which is, yeah, we got them plans. Okay, moving on. Let's use them plans. And I guess fans were like, huh? How'd you guys get those plans? And that's how we got Rogue One. Is that like somewhat correct?
That is basically the genesis of it. Is that in 4, it starts off with, hey, we got these plans. And Rogue One is the long-ass story of how they got the plans. Okay,
see, so I would, if I could ask Gary Whitta, I'd love to get his opinion, or I'd love to get the history of it, you know, from a writer point of view. Was that, all right, writer guy, you know, the fans keep asking for this, I want you to write it. Or was it, damn, man, that one line has piqued my interest so good, I have to write an entire movie. I'd love to hear that, you know?
I have no idea what
Yeah.
the genesis of it was or why it was such a popular thing to do. That being said, if you think about it, between episode 3 and episode 4 of Star Wars, there's a shit ton of time that passes by.
Yes.
So having something like this that ties the two together sort of is kind of an interesting filler. And it allows people to feel nostalgic for episode 4, which is the oldest one in real time, yet still be current. So I think that it was a smart choice to choose that time period, because what I would ask is, how do you write a movie to where you already know the ending?
Ooh, touchy. Okay, so here's me, not a professional screenwriter guy, but some writing background and writing. I'll throw it down like this. So a great example would be all right, let's say you are gonna do something historical. Like, we know this famous person. Okay, I'm just gonna go Martin Luther King because that's the first person that came to mind. We know he got assassinated. We know he's not alive.
Spoilers, bro.
I know. I'm sorry. I know. How can you tell me? How dare you tell me this stuff? Yeah. So the reason why I say that is, like, getting there is the issue. Like my roller coaster ride. I know I'm gonna go up and I know I'm gonna go down. Okay, now impress me. Like that's kind of how the audience would go to it. Because, like you said, you know how it's gonna end already. But in this case, the roller coaster, oh crap, I'm upside down. Whoa, I'm getting splashed by water. Water, yeah, water. Like, all the twists and turns, So I did enjoy that. Okay, here's a great example, okay? So, as a guy who knows very little about Jedi, I know what they can do for the most part. I know what the Force is and the lightsaber thing. But outside of that, there's more to it than that. Okay, so what I'm getting at is Donnie Yen's character. I loved his character so much. So much. I looked it up. It seems to be Chirrut Imwe. I have no clue if I'm saying it wrong, so I'm just going to call him Donnie Yen. But I know, right? I have to assume that Gary Whitta cooked that up, because I'd never heard of that whole the monk and the praying kind of stuff prior. But man, it fits so good. I loved it so much.
Klingon of Sparta in the Twitch chat, the story was quite imaginative, though I will admit it went from, oh yeah, there's just plans, to these are the plans and we have sacrificed so much to get them, and understand, where that dude's coming from.
Yes.
But like you're saying, it's cool that you could take just that, these are the plans, how do we get the plans, and then weave these characters around it. Like Donnie Yen's character is iconic from that movie. There's so many great one-liners that he had, right? Like, I'm the Force, Force is me, right?
Yeah.
It's
so good.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the character that you have to bring to that kind of story as a writer. Once again, especially when basically, wait, spoilers, bro, for everyone watching this live or anyone listening on the podcast. You can pause for a few seconds and skip to about a minute from now. Spoilers when they're gonna die in the end.
True.
Right? You know it's gonna happen. So how do you create a fun ride along the way, as you're saying?
I will say this, also superb in that scene of he's walking and saying the words, I am, the Force is with me, I'm with the Force. And I love that part where his friend is like, dude, are you crazy? What are you doing? Like, that was so spot on. Cause like, I think we needed that, like sometimes you need to have someone essentially voice what the audience is thinking. And that scene, again, elevated even higher. Loved it. So much fun.
So what's interesting is that we're talking about Rogue One and how it was so entertaining and fun in these ways, and they weaved in these cool characters, and the nostalgia of it really grabbed people because it took you all the way back to episode 4, which a lot of people who have been following this series kind of attached to.
Yes.
And we'll say commercially, Rogue One did incredibly well, especially for a spin-off story that wasn't part of the episode, 7, 8, 9 lineup.
True.
I want to do the comparison and contrast to Solo, which released more recently, didn't do nearly as well, and took us to a story that maybe the fans didn't quite want to see, myself included. So now I'm going to be honest with the internet in that I haven't seen Solo. I'm familiar with the background and what went on and all the marketing crap about it, but I didn't see the actual movie because I wasn't excited to see it, and maybe that's indicative.
I gotta throw this down. So this is just a fun Solo thing. It's a spoiler, quote unquote, for literally the first 15 seconds of the movie. So in Solo, okay, wait. I'm just gonna say I'm insulting old movies, and then you can like draw your own conclusions as to why I'm saying I'm insulting old movies. Okay, in old movies, the pacing was different. You know, the pacing, it was just a different time. Like, the iconic Star Wars word crawl, you don't see that anymore. By the way, I love that still. I'm a reader. I read stuff. So anyway, Solo, first, okay, this is how it starts in Solo. Black screen. You see nothing. And you hear a guy panting. He's just like, something's wrong. Okay, come on. You know, like he's saying like, come on. You know, he's saying that kind of thing. Something is wrong. You can tell. Boom. You see him, what's that called when you steal a car with no keys?
Jump start?
Yes, he jump starts it, right? Like he essentially steals the car. Boom, chase scene. You know, like it goes from this crazy moment of, come on, you know, I call it the countdown in writing. There's a countdown. I need to steal this car right now or I'm going to die. Boom, he gets it. Good. Okay, chase scene. I need to get away from these guys or I'm going to die. Like all of that, that is an action movie. I enjoy that. I like that. The writer advice they always give is you grab the reader and you don't let go. And I was grabbed instantly. So yes, Solo gets a lot of crap, but I enjoyed it a lot. Having said that, I'm also not the average Star Wars fan. So that does say something though, but I definitely enjoyed Solo.
From the Twitch chat, it basically goes into the Kessel Run and, you know, Solo's origins. Spoilers, bro. I don't know if we can say spoilers for a movie that came out, last year?
Fair, but I mean,
as long as you don't, like, jump the whole thing, but, you know.
Right. I see, in that same sense, I enjoyed Solo. It was fun. Because some of it I knew too, like, which is terrible, and this is me keeping it real. I know those things from Family Guy parodies. So, yeah, the 12 parsecs. And then the commentary later on is like, isn't parsec a distance, not a unit of time? Well, moving on. So like, I know those jokes, but, yeah, still had fun with it. It was still cool. You see why it's crazy, you know, cause apparently that was an incredible feat and one big enough to brag about. But anyway, okay, Rogue One. I gotta say this. So, man, I'm gonna dump on Star Wars a lot today. I feel kind of bad. Okay, anyway, I was never a C-3PO fan, and I need to break it down why. By the way, I love R2-D2. Okay. C-3PO, he's a pacifist in a movie that's about fighting and wars. It's literally called Star Wars. So, now that I have dumped on C-3PO, man, I love K2. I love K2 so much. Every scene with K2, I'm like, why were you not in 456? If you were in 456, I would have enjoyed it even more. I would have been all over that shit, you know?
Okay, you know exactly K2. Why he wasn't in 456, but, you know, let's be real.
I'm just saying, I enjoyed K2 so much. Oh, every scene, I'm like, yep, more of this, please.
While we're on topic in that way, why do you think that Solo didn't do as well as Rogue One? What is your opinion on that?
Ooh, Solo came after, right?
Yes.
Okay.
No, okay, just to frame it for you, right? Yeah. It was episode 7, which was The Force Awakens, which was huge. Then Rogue One.
Oh, Chris, I have a stupid joke for you. So before episode 7 came out, right? I think it was like some late night guy, it might have been Letterman, whoever it was. I don't remember who it was. And the guy's like, oh, yo, I gotta tell you guys, I learned the names of the Star Wars movies. Are you guys ready? And they're like, yeah, tell us, you know. So, first one is The Force Awakens. Boom, that's right. You're welcome. I told you that. Next movie, The Force Takes a Nap. Third movie, okay, anyway, that's I enjoyed that. It's stupid. I enjoyed it anyway.
Force Awakens, Rogue One, Last Jedi, and then Solo. So granted, okay, there was a lot of hype behind The Force Awakens, right? That was the first real Star Wars movie in a number of years. Rogue One was riding the coattails of that, still told a great story. Then there was The Last Jedi, and then Solo, and each one was 1 year after each other. So in your opinion, knowing all that,
yes,
why do you think Solo flopped?
I have Marvel versus Star Wars that I have to get into after this, because that's part of it.
Sure.
But I'll give you the Overwatch spin on this, okay? I know you don't know Overwatch, so let's just say Overwatch, there was the stuff that happened in the old days, then there's the nowadays. Okay, so in the old days was Tracer's main character, Tracer's first mission. Cool, no problem. Okay, we're doing that. Okay, in the old days, we saw these two brothers, they were fighting. Okay, and in the old days, so after a while, the audience was like, dude, what is happening right now? You know, you built this whole world. There's all this stuff going on. Can you tell us more? So for the record, I think the most recent thing was this woman blackmails another woman. Like, it's a big scene, you know, like espionage kind of stuff. It's awesome. All right, let's go. What's the next scene? Okay, in the old days, wait, again? Are we still in the past? Can we please move along? So that I think was a big part of it, or at least for me. So on one hand, I'm like, you know what, Solo, I'm going to enjoy it because it's Solo. Why not? It's Han Solo. Let it be. On the other hand, I totally get it. This is the Overwatch reaction, which is, yeah, we kind of know that. 12 parsecs, shoot before the other guy shoots you or whatever. Can we move on? Not necessarily that Han Solo is alive 50 years down the road or whatever, but it's just like, what's happening right now in the Star Wars universe? And in Overwatch, they kept milking the old stuff, which is enjoyable. It's just not lore. So the fans are like, give us more lore, please. Now, in that same sense, I'm going to dump on the most recent movie because I'm sitting there and even I'm like, is this really happening? The whole movie happens in like a day or something, right? Like literally 1 day of time. So
the Last Jedi?
the one where the lady slams the spaceship into the other spaceship.
Yeah. Basically,
Okay.
yeah. Very short amount of time.
So it's like, dude, is the next movie 20 minutes? You know, like, can we move along in the story like that? Because they didn't even win a war, right? They beat up one big ship, which is still cool. That's a huge accomplishment. But lore-wise, we went nowhere in that sense, which is frustrating. And anyway, okay, roundabout, what I'm getting at is Solo, by its very freaking origin deal, is guaranteed to not be further future lore. I think that's already a huge, like, turnoff for some people. Especially when you know there's gonna be like 15 Star Wars movies, because that's how people do movies these days. So it's like, can we move along? No, we're gonna go back to the old stuff. Then we're gonna do spin-offs of the old stuff. Then we're gonna do spin-offs of the spin-offs. And it's like, it's kind of rough. And that's a hard, like, I don't blame the actors. I don't blame the writers. You know, like, that's what the heads up, the people above wanted to do. But from an audience point of view, that's the Overwatch thing again. Like, are we still in the old days? Can we do the today things?
From the Twitch chat, check out this theory. Solo, in my opinion, was poorly planned, and they totally killed the Han story by, spoilers, bro, killing him off in episode 7. And they weren't hyping up his character. So basically, we're saying that episode 7, Han Solo dies. I guess maybe they were trying to play off let's learn his legacy in the next movie, but did anyone care at that point? I don't know.
Fair point. See, the juice thing here, though, is, and I do not fault Harrison Ford at all, I believe the actor in real life said, I'm done with this character, man. Can you write me out? Like, what are you going to do? You know, because if he doesn't show up for the next film, we're screwed. So, hey, we're going to agree. We're going to give you a good send-off, etc., etc. But, like, the writers would then have to deal with that. No one's going to change his mind. He already made up his mind.
I mean, let's be real, though. By the time episode 7 came out, he's kind of old as fuck already, right? So,
well, see, that's keeping it real, too. Correct. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
let's
totally.
keep it real. Like, it's not quite the same thing anymore. And not to mention, if you think about it, they killed him off in 7. Solo didn't happen until after 8. So it was, they killed him off, then they had Rogue One, then a whole nother movie, and then Solo.
Yes. See, so, again, like, if you told me all that as a writer, it's like, all right, Alvin, I need you to write these things. I'm going to do my best, of course. But it's like, that's not the same thing at all as working on something current, you know, that furthers the lore. That's totally a different animal. I mean, I guess Emilia Clarke's character could have done some other stuff, maybe spin off into the future, I don't know. But it's like, the title character is kind of dead. There's all these problems in the audience's mind. You can't even hope that he's alive. You can't even wonder. You already know. You know this is in the past.
But see, now I'll bring it back. That same logic still applies to Rogue One. Because you already know that the characters die. You already know that. So why did Rogue One do so well in comparison, though? We'll ask the reverse question.
Okay. Actually, I didn't know that they died. I say that because all I knew was these people got the plans. Now, was it stated, we got these plans and everyone died? I actually don't know the answer to that.
I'm pretty sure, I'd have to check this, and anyone in comments or in chat can check me on this. I'm pretty sure in episode 4 they talk about how everyone died because they blow up the base, right? I think that's a thing.
Oh, okay. See, that's my fault, man. I don't know enough, but okay.
At the end of Rogue One, they basically blow up that planet, right? That they're on. When Jane Erso, they're there and they're watching it get destroyed.
I'll give you a solid answer that for me doesn't matter that much, but I know for the average fan it does. Jane Erso, I don't know you. Okay, sign me up. Let's go. I'll figure it out, right? Han Solo, Harrison Ford, man. Whoa. This is a flashback. Harrison Ford. No, it's a flashback. Stop it. Harrison Ford. Like, okay, stop doing that. Get ready for a new actor. See, like, for me, I'm cool with that. Let it be. I know it's an origin story. I'm just going to enjoy. But for a lot of people, how dare you show me a face that's not Harrison Ford? I mean, this is that thing, right? Should they have done the Captain Marvel thing? Grab Nick Fury now, de-age him? I don't know.
So you're saying that because we have, for the past like 30 plus years, or more than that even, associated Harrison Ford as Han Solo, now we turn him into somebody else and it's not as attractive, it's not as appealing, and maybe that also played into the whole thing?
That's a theory. That's one of my theories, yes.
Okay, I can buy that. I can buy that.
So this is something I saw, and it was just like writer talk, like how to do stories and stuff like that. Okay, let's say I had to write Spider-Man right now, just because he's a big name. Okay, cool. You know what? Spider-Man, okay, he's a girl. Done. I'm making him a girl, and I'm going to change his powers, maybe some heat vision. Okay, that's way out there. But fans would say, okay, we'll give it a shot, because in Marvel, we know you retcon. We know that's how it works. We're used to it. Just show us something cool. I'll figure it out. Like Miles Morales, I'm like, what do you mean Spider-Man's black? Peter Parker's in black. Oh shit, there's a new one. I had to think about that when I first heard it. I'm like, oh, I get it. It's a new spin. Okay, sure. And that was my reaction. Okay, sure. Sign me up. I'll check it out. Now, in that exact same sense, Star Wars, no. We don't roll like that, man. We have a whole history like this. Yoda looks like this. Yoda fights like this. How dare you change Yoda? Like, whoa. I'm doing a new movie. Everybody relax. We're not retconning any of this. Everything needs to jive across all these different places and all these different families. So, for instance, this is a smaller time span, but guy and girl meet each other. Hey, nice to meet you. Hey, I like you. You like me. Boom, kissing. Okay, fine. I don't think anything about it. But when you look at the entire story, are they related? Are they related and kissing? Like, okay, just let it go, But see what I mean? Like, it can't fly. See, like that. It's a different animal.
Spotted in chat. Or they could have waited quite a few more years to release a movie like that. The wound was just too fresh when when Solo came out.
True.
Or something maybe like around Alderaan, or if it was something else.
True. I can see that.
And the viewer base behind Star Wars has been changing lately too. I agree, 100%. 100%.
That could be intentional, but yeah, I agree to that. I get that.
So, for you having seen both movies, what is your opinion on the writing, since that's kind of what we're highlighting today?
Oh.
I'd argue, to me, again, not having seen Solo, just understanding the way it played out and the way the characters are written in, based on what I've read, I'd argue that Rogue One was just a better written and planned out movie.
I'm going to nitpick here instead of going into the big thing. So, first, going to the nitpicking. All right, Chris, I am not in the same room as you, but I'm sitting next to you. Yo, can you pass me that pen over there? Cool. Thanks, Chris. Done. See how that works? We're two adults. We pass each other stuff. That's it. That's all it takes. Okay. Reason why I say that is, can you imagine if I said, yo, Chris, can you pass me that pen over there? Okay. Hold on now. We're above a 3,000-foot cavern. There's a small rickety ladder. I'm going to have to climb this and hand it to you. Be careful now. Don't fall. Meanwhile, what do you mean meanwhile? Just hand me the fucking pen. That's how it felt when I watched Rogue One. It took me out of the moment. For me, like a cardinal sin in a movie or a play or whatever is anytime I stop and feel like I'm not in it, that's a bad sign. Rogue One had that moment, and that was one of those moments. It was a crappy moment for me. For the record, this is when Jane, I think, had to get some kind of file, and it was ridiculous to hand it to someone else. I'm sorry, I'm very blurry on this already. This is a joke in Family Guy, which is true. There's a part where I guess it's Darth Vader and I am your father, that other guy. Anyway,
Luke Skywalker. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Okay, so anyway,
okay.
There's that scene, and then the joke is, man, it's really dangerous here. There should be some handrails. I'm sure we could get a guy to hire him and just make some handrails so we don't all just fall off to our deaths. But that's like the architecture in Star Wars. You just kind of deal with it. In Rogue One, there was a scene. I remember it was like, if this was like a doctor's office, you would just hand the file to the next guy. That's it. But in the movie, to add the spice or whatever, it was I call it an altitude scene where you can die via just heights. That took me out of it. It just took me out of it.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's a one thing. It's one thing, but still, that was just no.
So how do you compare it to Solo then?
I am absolutely the action movie guy at heart. So Solo was jam-packed, man. It was great. There was so much action. You know what? Screw the spoiling thing. You don't give a rip if I spoil for you, right?
I don't care.
Okay, yeah, it doesn't matter. So Solo meets Chewie.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even have to tell me what happens. You just say those words, Solo meets Chewie. Dude, sign me up. I want to know more now. Right now I want to know. And in that scene, one, there's fighting in it, so it's good stuff. Two, I call it a cunning moment. Cunning is like when the smaller person, or maybe not smaller person, beats someone else solely via their mind. In this case, cunning stuff was used so that they could both be free. They became friends over it. It all makes sense. Everything fits. I'm like, damn, I'm enjoying this. Having said all that, writing is not just a key scene, nor is it a weird action set. There's a very good chance that Gary Whitta had it normally just, dude, pass me the pen, next. But then someone else said, we need this scene to be crazier, so they had to change it. I enjoyed a lot of stuff in Rogue One. I enjoyed the end, actually. I always think of Sarah Connor in Terminator 2. When the blast goes off, it's just sad. But in that movie, it was nice. All the stuff in it was nice. Mission accomplished. It's a weird kind of sunset versus, like, say, in a Rambo or something, where it's an actual sunset. In this case, it was a bomb going off. I enjoyed that stuff. For the most part, it was good for me. I did enjoy it. So.
Bro, real quick, since you mentioned it, did you hear that they're making that new Terminator movie that's right after Terminator 2?
Oh, well, one, that was a while back. Two, I hope so. I really enjoyed it.
No. Well, yeah, no. Like, it got announced, like, Arnold Schwarzenegger on Twitter is like, hey, later this year, I'll be back. And it's a Terminator movie with Schwarzenegger and, what's her name? That
Hamilton.
played Sarah Connor.
Hamilton.
Yeah. Linda Hamilton, they're gonna,
man.
yeah. There's gonna be, it's set, it basically, like, takes Terminator 3 and all the other ones and, like, chucks them out the door, says, fuck, this didn't happen, yeah. And it says, Terminator 2, a few years later, take the characters you love, start again.
Oh, man. That's pretty awesome. I will say this, for a very long time, Terminator 2 was my favorite movie, period. So that's
it's
huge
fantastic.
News. Yeah, I enjoyed it so much.
We'll have to check that out later.
Yes, definitely.
From the Twitch chat, going back to Alvin's Jar Jar Binks comment, Star Wars' real heroes are their sidekicks.
Ooh.
All of them, good, bad, ugly. So we'll expand on that because you mentioned it too. In Solo, they brought out Chewie, which is nostalgic in its own right.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. The team of the Rogue One sidekicks. If we say Jane Erso is quote unquote the main character,
yes,
so to say,
yes,
right,
yes, right.
or maybe Cassian Andor, the male protagonist. Let's say if they're the main duo, the sidekicks in Rogue One are fantastic. Like we said earlier.
Nice.
Your thoughts on the comparison?
I'm really bad remembering all the different characters, but for me, Donnie Yen's character, K2, boom, done. And neither were mains. I enjoyed them thoroughly every time they were on screen. I need to say this. I don't know if your brain did this. Chat, if your brains did this, please say something about it. Okay, so I didn't think about this, but apparently the internet was like, oh man, take my money, it's on. Donnie Yen versus Darth Vader. Was that a thing your brain did?
During the movie, yes, but I mean,
oh
it's
man,
not gonna happen, but that'd have been awesome.
See, that's why, because I didn't know that either. I didn't think about that till someone told me later, like, why didn't it happen? Well, I'm pretty sure Donnie Yen would lose because he has to for multiple reasons, fan-wise as well as storyline-wise, but still would have been cool. I'm sure it would have been fun to watch.
I think it's one of those, like, fanfic or, like, Wish Upon a Star type, if they did that in the movie. Oh my god, see, now I'm thinking about that even more. I did think about it during the movie.
Yeah,
but think about that now. Wouldn't that have been fucking awesome?
Yes, take my money. Man.
Yes, seriously.
Okay, so I'll say something my brain did do prior because someone threw this down. So, like, before a movie comes out, people just start saying stuff, be it quote-unquote real or otherwise. And when I heard this, I'm like, please let it be true because that's so cool. Darth Vader, you see him in your mind, boom, black armor, black capes, very badass. He has the look. Cover of Rogue One, a woman wearing black armor. And the commentary was, yo, she is wearing his armor. And my brain was like, oh man, I couldn't wait. I could not wait. I'm like, do they steal the armor? Do they somehow get a copy of the armor? Do they, what is this? How is it? Totally didn't happen. And I was so sad. Cause that fan thing would have been awesome. But, oh well. Cause to my knowledge, there's only one set of Darth Vader armor, period. Which is kind of a sad thing, cause I'm assuming it's good.
Well, I mean, given what you see of Darth Vader in episode 5 and 6, even though you haven't seen it, it's not like he takes off the armor.
True. It's Tony Stark-ish, but worse.
It's far worse than Tony Stark.
Ah, okay.
From the Twitch chat, Donnie Yen versus Vader. Donnie Yen's good, but Vader, he'd probably kick his ass.
He's Vader.
But it would have been a tragic one at that. I agree 100%. But imagine the fight
Yes,
scene.
yes,
Holy
exactly.
shit.
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
Vader would kick his ass in the end,
Of course,
100%.
of course.
It has to happen like that.
It has to.
But it would be an amazing like 3 minutes of action.
I've been a Donnie Yen fan for like forever. So yeah.
Yep.
When I heard he was in, I'm like, are you sure? That sounds unlikely, but there he is. I loved it. I will say this. Okay, so I don't know jack about Lord of the Rings. Wow, this is worse. I saw, I think, all the Lord of the Rings, I think. And I can't tell you diddly. Okay, moving on. So Lord of the Rings, I don't know. And then the Hobbit movie was on the way. And then someone said, yo, Orlando Bloom's in it. Legolas is on the way. And the commentary from someone, like one of my friends, was, man, this is dumb. He wasn't in the book. You guys are just shoehorning him in. This is stupid. Having said that, as a guy who does not know either book or book series, my brain associates Lord of the Rings with Legolas. Like you have to have him. It's a mistake not to have him. Then they put him in and I barely remember that stuff too. But hey, I'm sure it was great scenes. The reason why I say that is, if you say Star Wars, my brain immediately thinks of Darth Vader. To further that point even more, when I think it was 7, yeah, I think when 7 was on the way, I remember asking my friends like, "Yo, wait, what? 7? Darth Vader?" And they're like, "No, dude, stop. That's not what this is." I'm like, "Oh." So when I heard about Rogue One, I'm like, timeline fits, and then the whole movie, I was sitting there like, "Give me my Darth Vader, man. I want some Darth Vader." And there wasn't much, but you know what? Schooling some fools, still good. I enjoyed that thoroughly.
Here's the real question, is that if you're a Vader fan and you didn't see episodes 5 or 6, when I say Darth Vader, do you think Hayden Christensen?
Well, okay, see, this is juiced. One, a little bit, but two, James Earl Jones' voice, man. Just boom, there it is. And I do not associate that voice with Hayden Christensen at all. So I see the quote unquote correct Darth Vader. But
Okay.
yeah. I
I'm
know
with you there.
I know him from all the parodies. I know him from Death Battle. I know him from like comics. Man, it's terrible. At some point I will watch 5 and 6. Probably should be 4 too, because it's been forever. On that same note, James Earl Jones, good stuff. Lion King, also good stuff. Lion King on the way, good stuff there too. I didn't realize this until later till someone told me, and that was also good stuff. James Earl Jones, CNN voice. Man, that's awesome. You know, I've enjoyed him in various movies. And, throwback to a previous podcast, Coming to America commentary. I believe he was in that as well. He has the demeanor, you know, I enjoy seeing him. I enjoy hearing him, obviously. I believe that voice made Darth Vader. Like, let's keep it real. I'm going to make fun of Gilbert Gottfried because I think he'd laugh too. Gilbert Gottfried as the voice of Darth Vader, not the same thing. It's just not.
Not the same. Yep, I agree.
Okay, anyway.
When you say James Earl Jones, I immediately think The Sandlot. That's just the first thing that comes to my mind.
Oh, man, yeah. Oh, that
because
was awesome,
that's awesome.
That was awesome.
Just
Man,
saying.
I enjoyed it so much, yeah. By the way, when I was younger, I did not realize what Benny the Jet was. But apparently it's the song, right? Benny and the Jets.
Yeah, I mean, that's about something else completely too.
Okay, totally.
Yes, James
yeah.
Earl Jones says such a great voice. Deep and robotic and mechanical. Fantastic.
Yes. I'm just going to keep it real, man. Hayden Christensen, Darth Vader is my favorite character of all times. Second only by Jar Jar Binks. All right, I said it. Quote me on it.
Exposed in the chat. Oh, man. Exposed. Oh, my goodness. This is going to happen.
Oh, man. Oh, dude.
Oh, God.
Those movies made one of my friends fall so much in love with Natalie Portman. It was ridiculous. Ridiculous. Okay, anyway.
It's a big part of those movies, I mean.
Well, I mean, yes, but it was just like, see, for me, I was just like, she's some lady acting on screen. You know, my brain didn't even go there. But for him, it was like, boom. It was all about her. It was trippy.
All right, before I move on, I want to remind everyone that today's episode of House and Cousins is being brought to you today in part by Team Me Brand, lifestyle brand based out of Hawaii, where we are both from, that does streetwear artwork and culture showpieces like their latest interview series with local hip-hop artists not only in Hawaii, but across the United States. These hashtag United individuals are building out their custom art merch and would love to have you share their designs. As a reminder, all items are produced in limited quantities and on limited runs. Full disclosure, I am not affiliated with this company, but I have done work for them before, and they like to make sure that I look stylish on stream because my sense of style is next to nil. Alvin, you haven't seen yet, but these shirts are awesome. I think maybe you've seen a couple of them. Anyway, so if you are interested in the shirt I'm wearing today, or any of the designs I wear on stream, check out Team Me Brand on social media. That's TEAMMEBRAND, all one word, on all your favorite social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or make sure you hit up their hashtag, Keep Moving Forward. Now, I segue from that into Gary Whitta. We've gone off on the Star Wars tangent, and we will keep going off there. But I want to point out that he doesn't only do Star Wars stuff. So I found Gary Whitta, honestly, through podcasts. And I had mentioned it on previous episodes of the show, for those that follow our show, that I'm a huge fan of Kinda Funny, which is a bunch of the IGN guys spinning off into their own video game / comedy / entertainment company. And I found Gary Whitta through them, which is a crazy connection. He guest stars, or now is a regular host on their show, Kinda Funny Games Daily, where they talk about video games and all the latest news and things that's going on in the world of video games. Gary Whitta, before writing Star Wars and doing these screenplays, was actually the editor of PC Gaming Magazine. He's a huge gamer as well.
Oh, nice.
He also streams games like PUBG on Twitch. And he's done comic books as well. So, as a writer yourself, what do you feel about the relationship between the comics, playing video games and doing that kind of thing, and now, since you're doing it, podcasting?
I have to go back to a Steve Jobs speech. Okay, so apparently Steve Jobs, a long time ago, he did calligraphy. And people are like, dude, you're stupid. Why are you wasting your time on this? Pick up a real hobby, that kind of stuff. And Steve Jobs was like, man, relax. It's just a hobby. Jeez. So anyway, back in the old days, we would have Courier font and only Courier font. I believe this was during the time when we had printing that goes, that kind of old printing and the Telnet kind of. So someone at that time, and I believe it was Steve Jobs, said, man, you know what? There's other fonts. Do we have to look at this? So then they decided, let's make some new fonts. And I definitely have fonts that I enjoy looking at. And he pointed out that the whole deal for him was his calligraphy background helped him. Because he knew calligraphy, it helped him program these future things. And because of that, we now have all these awesome fonts that we can use. And his point was, you out there, I believe it was a graduating class, all of you got stuff that makes no sense. Like, why do you even have that as a background? You know what? For Steve Jobs, in the old days, calligraphy didn't make sense either. It was just something he did. I guess he enjoyed it, But then, at some point, you wrap it all together, and it's great. I say all that because I feel like all these things get wrapped together as well for us. I like on the podcast, we mix it up. I like that sometimes it's about writer stuff, and sometimes it's not. I like that it changes. In that same sense, man, gaming, PC Gaming Magazine, that's awesome. I've seen that on the shelves. What's it called? How's it funny?
No, okay. It's Kinda Funny Games Daily podcast.
Kinda Funny. Okay. Kinda Funny. I will say this. I don't know a lot about video games. I play like 2, but I like to know what's the deal. I want to know what's going on. So I love that stuff too. And the idea that this man has his hands in all this other stuff is awesome. I am straight up jealous. I applaud him. It is not easy to be in those shoes. And yeah, thumbs up. Oh, also, by the way, screenplay writer, like, hello, that's awesome. All of that stuff. Love it.
On the same line, since now you're, I wouldn't say following in, but you're in that same pot too. Can you see yourself writing a screenplay?
Oh, dude, I have written a screenplay.
Ooh, boom! Expose
no.
Chat again.
I've written a lot of stuff, man. Having said that, it's a long road. It's a long road. I know it can be better. I want to improve it. I'm not quite ready to announce this yet, but I will say that I enjoy writing. I enjoy drawing. I enjoy speaking. I enjoy multiple things. I am currently working on a huge project that envelops all these things. And I hope that I can attain a Gary Whitta level at some point. That's amazing. But yeah, like, you never know when the things will connect. That's very much so the Steve Jobs thing. And I feel that way right now. Because if you told me before that my drawing would be a part of my anything beyond just sketches, like before, all I would do is sketch costumes for my characters so I can see them better and I can show it off later to other people because people ask me what the deal is. If you told me before that I'd be drawing more, like I am a paid artist. Now, I am not amazing at all. And if you really break down what it means, it doesn't mean anything. But I have been paid to draw, and that is awesome. It's a nice, fun feeling. Man, I'm just thinking about Gary Whitta and being jealous. Okay, anyway, one day I want to be in those shoes, and I think it's awesome.
Well, you're the closest thing I know to someone who would do that. Like me personally, I'm not a writer per se. I like to actually write, but I don't think I'm as imaginative as someone like you or someone like Gary Whitta. I can't draw for shit. I can talk, I guess, and that's why we're talking. But
That's
hey,
right.
you know,
I forgot who said this. I'm gonna say, well, it was many people, but also Tim Ferriss. The commentary was, you should do the stuff you enjoy doing. Life isn't that long. Chat, if you're out there or anyone hearing this at any point in time, you never know when your day is your last day. You know, it's kind of sad and kind of depressing, but that just means you should do stuff you care about. Spend time with the people you love. Chris, brother, this is me fist bumping you through the cyber space. But yeah.
big fist bump to the camera right there.
Yes, good stuff. Yes. I don't know what Gary Whitta's background is, but clearly he knows a lot. I'd love to pick his brain on it. For me, at least, most people usually only wear one big hat. But if he's an editor of a huge magazine like PC Magazine and he's a screenplay writer, that's ridiculous. That's amazing to me. I think about him like, yep, I'm drooling. There it is. I'm drooling and jealous. Very cool.
Well, he's not an editor anymore.
Right.
Like,
Well,
previously, right? Yeah.
okay, see, this is a super depressing thing, but I would love to ask him, and this is definitely in the writer world. Certain things are still around, and I believe it's because of demographics. For instance, newspapers are supposed to die out. I don't believe they're going to die that soon yet. I believe their audience is still alive and kicking, so there's still going to be people buying newspapers. Having said that, who reads gaming magazines? For instance, I used to read GamePro. That was a long time ago. I have no idea if they still print. My assumption is no. Why? Because their demographic is very, very, very internet savvy. You know, like GameFAQs was a thing. If I want to know something, I look it up and it's just there. You know, it's like instant. So it's not quite the same as the newspaper demographic. Anyway, what I'm getting at is if I were talking to Gary Whitta, I'd love to pick his brain on that. Because he went from the editor of that magazine to seeing how it goes. Like one thing they keep saying in comics is printed comics are gone. They're not gone yet, but you should just assume that they're gone. Costs money to print them, you know, it takes time to ship them. But if you were to get our app or whatever, you get your comics instantly, which I understand why they would want that. Save some trees too. Hey, thumbs up. It's always that changing landscape. And for him, from his point of view, I'd love to hear his thoughts on all that.
Spotter, I agree with you. I used to read gaming magazines as a child too, but that was before the internet was a thing and before, you know, you could really afford being on the internet all the time besides dial-up and all that crap.
True. I mean, quite literally, I walk around every day with a computer in my pocket. It's ridiculous.
So one more big Gary Whitta thing, and I'm going to defer to you on this one.
Sure.
Big writing moment for him, even before Rogue One, was the Book of Eli.
Oh, nice.
And
Yes.
I think that you're a little more familiar with that than me, so give me your thoughts on the Book of Eli, what you thought of it, and especially the writing portion, how the story went.
You know what? There's a lot in there. I don't want to spoil stuff, so I'm going to just break it down in a post-apocalyptic setting. So if you think about like The Walking Dead, as well as a movie called like The Road, there's a world that you can build that's after everything has gone to crap. And Book of Eli very much so is like that. So there's a couple of scenes that I really like. For instance, the main character, he meets this lady. And then the lady's like, show me your hands. As an audience member, I think maybe she's concerned about weapons. So what he does is he holds his hand in front of her, and then they don't say anything. He just holds his hand in front of her, and then she says something like, okay, you're good. And you only realize later that in that world, it is very common to literally eat human beings. Food is hard to come by. You know, you can paint that setting in your own mind, that cannibalism is how some people survive. And she was checking, are you literally a human eater? Apparently, and I don't know if this is true, your hands start to shake, I guess because of cannibalism doing things to your body. So by him having steady hands, okay, you're a good one. Okay, I will do business with you or I'll work with you or whatever. Loved it. There's another scene that I really love. Essentially, there's a woman. She's not a good woman in numerous ways. So anyway, Eli, the main character, he's incredible and he beats up, quote unquote, kills these bad guys. And the lady says, take me with you. Dude, I don't know where you're going. Take me with you, please. You know, like, cause she was hanging out with essentially the crumbs of society. And then, the main character, he walks up to like her cart, cause it's like a shopping cart kind of thing. And he grabs a flask and he opens it and he goes, sniffing it, right? And she goes, it's water. Take it, please. Just let me come with you. And then he doesn't drink it at all. He closes the flask and he puts it back down. He's like, nope, you're not coming with me. And then he walks away. So multiple things here, the commentary of this woman who almost got him killed, this woman who quote unquote needs his help, all that kind of stuff. Well, one, she's more of a predator than anything. Two, he still worries about her. And this is a show, not tell. We don't just get told he's the good guy. He makes sure she has clean water, and she does. All right, peace. That's more than enough. Good luck out there, lady. And then he walks away. Doesn't say that, but I think that. Anyway, all that stuff it's so subtle. It's just a couple of lines. And that kind of stuff makes the movie amazing. And without spoiling the huge part of it, but the end too. This is something I think would be a normal question, not a spoiler thing. It is literally called the Book of Eli. What is the Book of Eli? What is going on? What is all that? So I'm not going to spoil any of that, but clearly there's a book, or at least they talk about a book. So you find out what the deal is. You find out how it works, and you find out all the whole world building. Man, it's great. It is great. I love it so much. I have never said I am a Denzel Washington fan, although I am. But I've never said I'm going to see this movie because Denzel's in it. But there's so many movies he's in that I love, and this is just yet another one of them. Loved it. Just all of it is in it. Okay, so even, oh my God, Meg Griffin. Even Mila Kunis is in it. Sorry, Mila. Anyway, even she's in it, and her character too, the way it plays out, all that's, man, I love it. It's just everything about it works. There's slow parts in that movie, but they're not bad parts. They're not boring parts. Everything just fits. That's solid writing, and I can see why it became a screenplay. Great stuff.
Yo, what's up? We got Neeks in the chat, and from it, we say Denzel Washington, OP actor. We are talking about Denzel in the Book of Eli. Yo,
Yes.
yo.
Yes.
So I'll ask you, Alvin. You gave a great description on how this is awesome, but can you imagine what it's like for someone like Gary Whitta, who at the time, again, went from magazine editor and has written a bunch of stuff to then writing a screenplay that's going to be played out by someone like Denzel Washington?
Oh, ridiculous. Yes.
Can you imagine what that's like? Now, when did this movie come out? Let's take a look. Book of Eli was in 2010. Okay. By 2010, Denzel was already a legend.
True.
Not even just huge, just a legend.
True.
What would it be like? What would you feel like if, you've written a bunch of things and all of a sudden, yeah, by the way, Denzel is acting this part for you?
To say the phrase dream come true would not be clear enough, because that's pretty legit. However, I'm going to give you the stupid answer. So let's have some fun with this. It's the stupid answer. There's a movie that stars Seth MacFarlane in it, and I believe it was called 10,000 Ways to Die in the West. Are you familiar with it at all?
I've seen the trailer, but I didn't see the movie. If I'm being honest, it looked kind of horrible.
Oh, dude, it's totally one of those movies, but it's fun. It's dumb and fun. Now, the reason why I say it is I saw it, and for the record, I did enjoy it. Having said that, of course, my writer hat was on, and afterwards I thought about what happens in the movie. So let's clarify one more time. Seth MacFarlane wrote it. Seth MacFarlane starred in it. Okay, you're the writer, and you're starring in it. Sure, what happens next? Okay, well, we need to cast someone else. Okay, who do we need? So I don't remember too many actors and actresses in it, but Charlize Theron was in it. Part of the script is the main character falling in love with Charlize Theron. And then part of the script is Seth MacFarlane kissing her. Not once, not twice, I believe it was thrice. And I'm like, dude, did you just write this script solely to kiss this woman? Now, writer to writer, I'd love to have that conversation, just laugh with him, because I'm sure that's at least part of the equation. When Happy Hogan races Tony Stark, it's silly, but it's so much fun, and it builds the world a little bit more. This is the kind of stuff writers can do, and I think that's awesome. So I do wonder, if Gary Whitta were to write himself into a movie, what would it be? See, stuff like that. Now that he knows he has the ability to create stuff so good, Denzel Washington appears in it. Who knows?
I don't know if he'd be an on-camera kind of guy, although he is on camera for the podcast and internet things that he does now. So we're going to tie it all the way back to Star Wars, and I'm going to have you try to help me with this.
Okay.
Book of Eli to Rogue One. What's the comparison? Is there one? Is there a theme that you see? What are your thoughts on that?
Before I answer that, I want to say there is something else I want to mention, so we can do that after. Having said that, I guess it's the way he handles characters. I like how clear it is, how everyone fits and everything works. In Rogue One, Easily, Donnie Yen's character could have just been some dude, some martial arts dude. But those few key lines, stick in my head, and I love them. And it makes the world better for me. Oh, so here's a great Book of Eli moment. So this is small spoilery, but there's a part where the bad guys are in his face, and he's like, guys, I don't want to fight. I just want to walk away, man. Like, we don't got to do this. So the one guy shoves him, right? Touches him in the chest, pushes him. And then the main character's like, dude, if you do that again, you will not get your hand back. He pushes him one more time. Boom. You just see steel flash, and the guy's hand is gone, and he's screaming in pain. It's one of those pretty dark movie. So then he proceeds to kill everyone because they're all attacking him. And then the guy on the ground, he's crawling, and he's hurting a lot. And then the main character kicks away his hand. He's like, no, I said you won't get it back. I'm like, wow, that's some dark, dark stuff right there. But that is the world they live in. The action was awesome. It was on point. It fits right in. All I can say is definitely when I watch Gary Whitta stuff, I enjoy it. Like I did not know those two things were connected in this way. I didn't know that. Now that I do, that's awesome. Now I want to know his other stuff too. Like it makes me want to check out his comics. Like, I was going to ask you that earlier. Are there comic book characters that he's done that I know?
I know there was a recent Star Wars comic that he released in conjunction with someone else that's I couldn't find the link to prior to, but there's another one called Oliver. I don't think you've read it before.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a take on Oliver Twist as a post-apocalyptic superhero.
Oh, okay.
But I think it's worth checking out.
Nice. Okay, wait, Chris. We were kind of bouncing around, so we skipped this. So your question is a valid one. Solo, not so hot. Rogue One did better. So what's up with this? So here's the thing. This is my pet peeve. Matrix Part 1. Are you ready for this? It's going to be fun. Enjoy. Hell yeah, I enjoyed. Matrix Part 2. Okay, yeah, I'll watch it. Oh, wait a minute. It was Matrix 2A. The next movie is Matrix 2B. And I'm just sitting there like, did we really end on these words to be continued? Like, that's a bad taste in the mouth, man. That's frustrating. Now, this is not what happens in Solo. Not quite. But we already know, because they keep telling us, get ready for a whole lot of Solo movies. We already know there's going to be additional movies. It's not a one-time thing. Rogue One, like you said, we know how it ends, bro. To me, that's kind of refreshing. A good example of that is like for a lot of comics back in the old days when I actually used to buy comics, I enjoyed having trade paperbacks. I liked having it all collected. I liked having it together. I like knowing that it ends, which is weird. It's kind of a weird thing, but I like knowing that there's an ending to it. Going into Solo, I already knew, and I did not like that. I already knew there's going to be others. And I'm like, whatever, I'll just enjoy it. And I did enjoy. But that aspect in particular, I did not enjoy. And I do wonder if other people feel the same way. Here's something that's a flashback. By the way, I've heard this, and I don't agree, but I've heard this for a lot of writers being told, do not do flashbacks. Period. That's it. If your character needs to do something involving a flashback, rewrite it, fix it. I don't agree to that. For instance, Naruto, which I love, they have flashbacks. I think it fits great, and I love it. Apparently, a lot of people don't. Apparently, there's a huge segment of the population is like, screw the flashbacks. And Solo, in and of itself, is a flashback. It's not an origin story in it that is the first story. Get ready for future stuff. No, we already know the current stuff. Like you said, we already know how his life ends. And now get ready for a flashback. To me, it's not a huge bad taste in the mouth, but it's a little bit bad taste in the mouth.
You mentioned it earlier, and maybe now's a good time. You're going to make a Marvel comparison with the Rogue One Solo thing?
Oh, well, I kind of dabbled on it from earlier, but yes. So Marvel has the ability to constantly change up their stuff all the time. For instance, after the upcoming Avengers Endgame, who knows? They could retcon everything. And honestly, I'd say, fine, let's try it again. I'll have fun with it, But in the Star Wars movies, it's like, no, don't you even do that. On top of that, I forgot what happened. I think officially the books are now okay. But there was a time when the books came out and they're like, no, this is not canon. I don't believe in this. And it's like, can we all just get along? Can we just make it work? And again, in Marvel, like, let's say you talk to me about Spider-Gwen. I'd be like, dude, Gwen's dead. That's her deal. That's her whole story. No. This is Gwen from another, universe. I'm like, huh? But it's okay. In Marvel land, totally normal. Fits perfectly. Can you imagine in Star Wars something like that? Oh yeah, no. You misremembered this character. This character's more like this. The guy who throws away the lightsaber that Rey hands him. That guy. That dude was bitter. And people are like, how dare you? You changing my past? That's not the guy I remember. But the more I looked into it and the more I read about him, like, no, I can see that happening. Plus, he's living alone on an island. Like, there's all that stuff involved. There's all this history because there has to be. He can't be a new guy because you have to follow the history. In this way, it's kind of like a straitjacket. You know, it's pretty rough, especially when you need to juggle all the other things. Marvel, that's cool, man. Nick Fury's black. Okay, what? Nick Fury's not black. See what I mean? Like, I don't care that he's black. I'm just enjoying the movie. And I would hope other people feel that way, but that's not how it works in Star Wars world. There's a continuity and it matters intensely to a lot of people. And it just makes it harder to write for, I believe.
So interesting you bring that up, and I'll kind of wrap up the whole thing with this. The point that you made about Gary Whitta, the common thread between the Book of Eli and Rogue One is the characters and the character development. From the chat, he seems like he has a voice of wisdom almost to tell these stories. When you take a dark tone for a movie about a Bible like the Book of Eli, that still has a good clash of tones for a story and is a flavorful experience. But then you spin that and you take the same character development where, like you said, they're showing, not necessarily telling, in Rogue One in the same type of way. Weaving those kind of worlds together in a unrestrained environment, we'll say, for the Book of Eli, and in a restrained environment like Star Wars, where you have to stick to a storyline and stick to a timeline, and you can't really mess with the canon. Being able to do both is what I think is the most amazing thing about the flexibility and the power of a writer, and the way to weave your own spin on these stories is what is the real, we'll say, the silver lining amongst all of this.
Just to back up what you're saying, you know, it's not just the ability to do so, but the ability to make it look smooth. I enjoyed Book of Eli a lot, like immensely, and everything's just smooth. You just watch and enjoy, and that straight up is masterful.
We want to thank you guys for tuning in to the podcast this week. It's been a great celebration of May the 4th, even though it's not quite May the 4th yet.
Oh, Chris,
but
I got to interrupt real quick because I was going to interrupt in the beginning, but I got to interrupt this. You know, I don't believe George Lucas planned May the 4th be with you to just so magically coincide with the calendar date, May the 4th. But damn it, it fits so good. I assume that's a hashtag. I'm pretty sure that was coincidence, but man, it is awesome. Like, how many dates? December, 17. What the hell is that? It's nothing. But May the 4th, oh, Star Wars fan, like, it just fits. I love that. That's so awesome. Okay.
Absolutely. But we want to thank you for jumping in and going on a little bit of a tangent with Star Wars to where we weren't looking as much into the main series, but Rogue One, Solo, and the writing behind it and how they're created and weaved into a great story. As a reminder, we are broadcasting this show live on twitch.tv/howsitnetwork. Make sure you jump into our chat because we love to hear your comments and interact with the chat during the show and talk about what you're talking about so you can kind of relate to it with us. Follow us on social media at House It Network on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram to stay up with our happenings and all the things that we're doing. If you like what you're hearing, this show airs on all the popular podcast services, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, anything you like. And also we put a version on YouTube. Check us out at howsitnetwork.com, the collection of all the work that we're doing.
And if you like that Alvin goodness, please visit alohalvin.com. I write like how I speak, and if you enjoyed me today, I'm sure you enjoyed the site too.
And if you want to hear more of me, I'm at HowsItChris on Twitter. You can find all the latest happenings with me. There's a couple things I'm working on right now, but by the time this airs, it might be gone and done. So check out the social media as you will. We want to thank you again for lending us your beautiful ears. And it's not goodbye. We shall see you later.